Thank you, everyone. Welcome to our city. Bienvenidos a todos. Buenos días. So happy to have you here in the city of Miami. Thank you. I haven't even said anything yet. So great to have you here, especially after Art Basel, and great to be back speaking at a conference after our COVID hibernation. So with a show of hands, how many of you have been coming to Miami for some time? Okay, I see some of you out there. And you see the palm trees back there. Is that what you think of when you think about Miami? Palm trees and beaches? Yes? No? Yes? Today I'm going to disrupt that a little bit, but I'm going to disrupt it in a way that shows you what's happening in our city, in our global metropolis. So many of you have seen probably some of our assets, some of our alternative assets, whether you've seen them here, experienced them in the city of Miami, or whether you virtually experienced them by watching Miami Vice or Burn Notice. But you're going to recognize some of what I showed today. So you may not know what our department does, what the Dream Department does. And it is a dream to work there, the Department of Real Estate and Asset Management for the city of Miami. Like James said, we have 513 properties, about 139 million square feet of land. That's not what I want to talk to you about today. You can read that in my bio, you just heard it. What I want to talk to you about today and what I want you to have are 4 takeaways about the portfolio that I'm going to show you today. So the first one is the types of assets that we have, the different types of skills needed to manage these assets. Each one is like an asset class within itself. The second point that I'd like you to remember is what our portfolio represents. And what it represents is actually the intersection of public and private real estate. So our real estate is all city-owned, and we have some obligations, some qualitative obligations and considerations that we have to take into account, not only the quantitative that a traditional asset manager might be looking at. The third is how our diversified assets hedge risk. And that's been really important to us during the COVID time. We saw, and I'll show you, we saw assets increase in value and increase in demand that we never thought would have that type of increase, and traditional assets decrease. And the fourth is all of this against the backdrop of our global tropical metropolis. And think about that, we're global. So we're people from all over the world, their eyes are here on Miami. My staff is from all over the world. We speak several different languages, and with that we bring a creative thought to what we do. We're tropical, you see the palm trees outside, and we're a metropolis. Right now you sit in one of the densest parts of the city. It's zoned for some of the densest, about 1,000 units per acre. So we're not just palm trees and beaches anymore, we're a lot more than that. So with that, I'd like to invite you on a property tour, and I love to give property tours. I love it. But today our property tour is going to be on slides, and if you'd like to take a property tour with me or with my staff after this, let us know. So the first slide I'm going to show you is one of our marinas, and the city owns and operates 1,300 boat slips, moorings, or dry docks. And marinas are a really interesting asset class. So this marina is at Key Marina. It's right beside City Hall. It sits on approximately 26 acres of land. We own both the slips and the land underneath the water, the submerged land, which is unusual. Many properties in the state of Florida lease the submerged land from the state, but we own it outright. During the pandemic, the marina asset class really grew in demand. As people had to stay inside, or their recreation was restricted, people really they bought boats and they wanted places to recreate outside. We have a waiting list to enter our 586 slips, and we have a tremendous demand for it. The demand is also illustrated in the private market by the recent sale of a marina. There was a recent sale of a privately owned marina in the city of Miami. It was about 2 months ago, Sea Isle Marina. And it was bought by a group out of Latin America, 175 slips. And as groups from around the world are chasing yield and chasing cash flow, marinas are an asset class that doesn't have as much competition in it and has some specialized knowledge that's necessary to run it properly. So many groups are starting to look at marinas as an asset class. There was also a sale about 6 or 7 months ago of the leasehold interest at the City of Miami Beach Marina, and that sold for a very high price. So we're seeing trades, but we're very proud to run this marina, and that's actually where I'd say my favorite office is. I have 2 offices or 3, but my favorite is with that view over there. So showing you some more when I talk about our mooring field, the boats that you see out in the water, we own that land as well. So we used a creative use of space there to create a 200 mooring ball mooring field. And we also have income that comes in from that as well. So next, again, you can see our mooring field here. Now I'll show you, in addition to the 1,300 boat slips that Dream owns and operates, the city owns and operates, Dream owns about 3,500 boat slips in the city of Miami. So the rest of the boat slips we have on long-term leases or license agreements, almost like concessions because some of them are so long-term with different operators. So that shows you some of the operators where we own the water, we own the slips, and they are on leases or concession agreements with us. Again, smack in the middle of our tropical metropolis, right? So the next asset I want to show you is this one's a hybrid. It's a retail shopping mall and a marina. So another city-owned asset, the marina's Bayside. Many of you may have been there before. And we have Bayside on a long-term lease. There's about 99 years left on that lease to an operator out of New York. And then we own and operate the marina, and it's about 175 slips. So we have a lot going on there, but again, look at it. There's not many marinas in the world that have those types of views, right? And we also take a portion of income from our commercial operators, commercial vessels that do a ticket surcharge for the tours that they do there. And during the COVID time, their tours were really sold out, so the city actually did well. So think about it, the mall had some problems, had a few problems during the COVID times. It is an outdoor mall, so it performed better than indoor, but the marina was really booming. So that hedged our retail against our marina asset. Again, another view of the Bayside shopping mall and marina. And Bayside was actually developed back in the 80s, the shopping mall. So it was developed, sometimes they say that retail follows balconies. This retail was here before our balconies because these balconies came about in 2010 during the last boom. So they took a hedge when they decided to build that there on city-owned land. Another view of a Bayside shopping mall and marina. So here's a beautiful one, right? Marine Stadium Basin. And this is on Virginia Key. This is one of the islands that the city owns. And we own all of the water under the basin. And I'll show you some of the uses that we have along the basin. So right now we just got approved about 100 mooring balls that will go out in the basin. So again, that will bring income to us using submerged land in a unique way. And then we have the Marine Stadium. The Marine Stadium is an actual stadium. It has about 7,000 seats in it, and it was battered during the Hurricane Andrew. This is a rendering of what's planned for the restoration of the stadium. And this is one of our properties that's on the historic register. So it's actually designated historic, and we're working with a historic consultant as well as a venue consultant on bringing the types of shows that warrant that type of theater. We just had a call with Red Rocks in Colorado to talk about how they bring shows, because the idea is that this is iconic, just like that type of theater. And my marina manager reminded me that if you like a cheeseburger in paradise, that you would like this marina, because Jimmy Buffett had played here. So another rendering of what it will be like. In addition to the Marine Stadium, we actually own and operate a marina on Virginia Key that's called Marine Stadium Marina. And that marina is a little different. We're using our space differently there. We're using racks for the boats. And the reason for that is actually that boat slips are even more valuable because they're limited in the state of Florida. There's several regulations, protection of the manatees, that prohibit construction of more boat slips. So what do? You go vertical. So we go vertical here, and this is our Marine Stadium Marina. We have about, I'd say, 260 racks there, and that's our city-owned marina that we own and operate. So we use forklifts to take the boats down and also have an income stream coming in from that. And then you can see we have special events. We had the boat show at Marine Stadium. So they came in as a special event, and they held the boat show there. This is what our racks look like if you've never seen racks. So it's kind of like you stack your boat up and you take it down, and it works well. It's really busy on the weekends. And then we have the Rickenbacker Marina, and that's one of our privately operated marina, but again, it sits on city land, and they're on a long-term lease with us. They have about, I'd say, 190 slips and 300 or so racks. So again, they're using the land in two different ways. For the permitted slips, they're using what they can max out for slips. Actually, we could, I hear, build a couple more slips on the other side, but we haven't done that yet. And then the racks. And then we also have a restaurant use there, which is the Rusty Pelican, all bringing in income to the city of Miami. So next, I'll go to a more traditional asset, sort of. So we have this Suntrust Tower. I like to call it the tower that lights up because it changes its name all the time. And we own the ground lease under the tower. So we don't own the improvement. It's a 47-story tower. We own the ground lease. And that's a very interesting property, especially because it's almost like a TOD, a transit-oriented development, because it has a metro mover running through it. And the city is really encouraging more TODs. This was built back about almost 40 years ago. So that was before our code was changed to encourage so much TOD. But I'm glad that they even thought about this because it makes working there really convenient and take public transportation. But another income producing property that's coming in for us. So next, we have the Hyatt Hotel and Complex. It's about a 4-acre complex. It's a hotel and a convention center and an auditorium. So it sits on 4 acres on the Miami River, and it has a very large convention center, and its lease is about to expire, and the idea is that it's going to be renewed. And this one has a connection to the water and to the baywalk, and it's encouraging mobility by bicycle or by walking. So it's being redeveloped right on the bay. And then the next one is another one of our islands. I like to call this the cruise ship island because you can see the cruise ships from it. But this is called Watson Island. And on Watson Island, we own the Parrot Jungle, which is being operated on a long-term lease right now with a hedge fund. And their plan is to build a hotel there, a hotel complex. Then we also have a public purpose use. Like I say, some of our uses are qualitative, a children's museum that pays a very low amount of rent but does advance that public purpose. And then we have a couple other uses, a seaplane base and a mega yacht marina. I'll show you that. So this is the mega yacht marina. It's called Island Gardens, and it's for very large boats. And it's hard. People have trouble finding slips right now for yachts over about 80 feet. So they provide that right now. Then we move on to our theaters. So we have several theaters that we own and operate. One of them is the Olympia Theater. This is also on the National Historic Registry. It has about 1,500 seats in it. And what's really interesting is that adjacent to it, we have an 80-unit apartment complex, apartment building. So right now we're looking at ideas of what we're going to do with that. Are we going to use it for affordable housing? Are we going to make a use that involves arts and the theater? Are we going to put a boutique hotel? So we're investigating that. Next, we have the Artime Theater. This is in Little Havana. And actually, our former president gave a talk there. And it's about a 900-seat theater. And then next, we have our office building, which is about 190,000 square feet, and it sits right on the Miami River. And those are all of our assets. So you can see that running these types of asset classes, marinas, theaters, submerged land, ground leases, office towers, it's as if you're running several different companies all within one department. So to build a team, to build a mindset and a skill set to be able to tackle a commercial lease in the morning and a maritime use in the afternoon, really what I need is to build a team of people that are experts in each of their areas. So I have experts with marinas that assist me and advise me on the marina assets. I have experts on the commercial side on retail with our retail leasing. I have experts on our just typical bread and butter real estate. But it's very different. And we also think a lot about public purpose, which I'd say is the old way maybe to say ESG. So a lot of what we do here at the city, we look at the public purpose and how it will serve the public good as well. And with that, I'd like to end. I was very happy to invite you on the tour of our assets. And it is a dream to work in this department. And I invite you to reach out to me and to share your dream for innovation or your dream on how to improve our assets, work more on our public purpose, on our ESG with me. So thank you so much, and thank you for being here.